of the 17th chapter. Swami Paramarthananda ji, see, this is not the tradition. Tradition in traditional ashrams, they won't give a summary and all that. They will just move on. They assume that you understood things. And it's not like, we're not children going to school or something. Vedanta mein kuch, especially in Vedanta, there is not much. At least karma kanda means how to do puja means you have to go through the process again, and you have to do this. Don't sip the water. You should not lick your hands. All this we can emphasize. But once we come to Vedanta, especially people who come to study in an ashram are adhikaris already. They don't highlight values and all. Values are value. You all must have understood without having values and living values, without sacrificing life for the sake of values, you wouldn't be sitting here. So they will just move on. No summary and all. But we all need in this Kali Yuga, we need some reinforcement periodically. And there are so many WhatsApp messages floating around, and 50% of which are more are questionable. And so if distraction is there, you can't stop. How much our Guruji says, still we can't stop because our fingers are just twitching. And so the Guruji has to spend some time. So Paramarthananda does a very good job. So we are very thankful to Swamiji for that. So anyway, let's summarize this chapter 17, where if you carefully look back, chapter 12 until chapter 12, so this Tvam and Tatpada Vichara was over. 13th onwards, Asi, Asipada Vicharaha. So 13 was that Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yogaha. Kshetrajnanchapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya vidhiyate. Finally, it's come down to the body because confusion is there only with respect to the body and mind. All right, so he starts with that. He says, Kshetrajnanchapi mam vidhi. So I am that Atma. That Atma and your Atma and me are not different at all. Like that equation he gives. So 13, 14, 15, he talks about this knowledge and then suddenly shifts gears in chapter number 16. Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga. Sampat, values, attributes of people, human beings. An animal doesn't have to worry about all these things. Only a human being needs all these things. And so he talked about that. And 17 also. Again, Shraddhatre Vibhaga Yoga. And these become important for us because preparation, adhikari is vivekam, vairagyam, shamadamadi, etc. It's a very, very interesting way to say what is the preparedness required for one to study Vedanta. He doesn't list all amanitvam, madamitvam and all, they don't list. Viveka, they list. Atma and Atma Viveka. Do you know, are you able to see that there is an Atma that is different from Anatma? Are you able to at least appreciate it? And do you know the importance of appreciating it? That is Viveka. Then Vairagya, values are all coming slowly. Okay, Shamadamati, very, talks about mental and sensual sense, mastery of the senses, all that it talks about. So that list was beautiful. And then Mumukshatvam was added there. Now, to get to that point, we need values. We need a value driven life. We need a dharmic life. And so, then when that person comes to Vedanta, Vedanta will stick and it will become a lifelong pursuit for that person. All of us are like that. And otherwise, what happens? Tremendous resistance. Tremendous resistance. Body just, mind resists because it's wandering and resistance is on the one hand, I know I must study. And on the other hand, something else is pulling me. So I'm stuck. So once somebody called me and they said, I feel like I'm a hypocrite. That's what the person said. And I feel like I'm praying, but I'm not really praying. Okay. See that. See the honesty of the question. That is honest. I told her this is how it is for everybody. Everybody feels like want to do it, but sometimes the Shraddha is gone. Shraddha is gone. Something else has come and stuck in the mind. And so I can't do a puja like a child does a puja. Okay. That feeling is there sometimes. I said that's normal. And so that is why. That's why our Swamiji writes this. What is that song? Lord, make me like a hollow reed, a flute for you to play. How many of you are able to? Yeah, about 4 people, so 5 people, 6 people. So that shows we are better at posting messages than actually reading the messages. Because we all know all messages are fake, but there are some messages that are actually pretty good. And this song in 19 or in 2001, 25 years ago, one or two, I forget, Swami Taratmanandaji was conducting this satsang, and he gave us a sheet. This sheet he gave 25 years ago. And and then he started talking and he explained all this and he sang. He had a violin, not violin, he's a guitar player. So he was actually playing guitar. And at the end of it all, we were all in tears. And I begged Swami, not me, I begged Swamiji, I need a recording of this. They must have recorded it, but still I needed it because tomorrow I'm going back to Chicago and this is too much. And so we need that. We need to loosen up, loosen up, loosen up, loosen up. Whatever way you want to find out to loosen up, just loosen. So, through this hollow flute of reed, you'll breathe your blessed song. So, when somebody posted, Swapna posted, I was reminded of that. Anyway, 16 and 17 are meant for that preparation. Second chapter was dose. It's a high dose. So, lokesmin divida nishta. What are you talking about? Well, summary has to be given. So, upakrama, upasamhara. That's the style of any text, any paper, anything that's written. Upakrama, upasamhara. Summary, or rather, yeah, abstract and conclusion or summary. That's how the presentation works. Even in your presentations, if you're given any professional presentations, that's how you normally do. All right. So, then that preparedness is needed. And so, never say no to all these. Never say these things are simple and all. And Swamiji quotes Chinmayanandaji, said this before. Somebody came and told him, Swamiji, I have gone through all the 10 Upanishads. And Swamiji asked him, how many Upanishads have gone through you? what a presence of mind of Swamiji. It's like a hollow reed. So is it simply keeping it like this? So anyway, this chapter starts with a question from Arjuna. Ye shastram vidhim utsritya yajante shraddhayanvitaha. So we'll read these things. We'll read this shloka shortly, chant it shortly. And shraddhayanvitaha is asking that question. People who have lot of shraddha in the shastram, and but then they know no procedure, puja procedure. Nobody taught them, and even lighting the lamp, when, what, everything, nothing. They don't know anything. You ask them about nakshatra, tithi, and all. They don't know all this. They don't know, but they have a lot of shraddha in the shastra. I met many such people. I met many people like that. And so I learned a lot from them. So he's asking that question. They're all religious, but they don't know the Shastra. What about such people? And so that kind of Shraddhalu, Ajnani Shraddhalu, Shraddhalu, lot of Shraddha. So, Pujakaha, because he's saying, Yajante, he's saying, Yajante means Pujante. That is the meaning. So now he's going to, Krishna has to respond to that question. So the first six shlokas, 1 to 6, yeah, Karshayanta, 1 to 6 introduces this Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. That is the title. Three types of Shraddha introduces. Then 7 to 22 onwards, you can mark in your book if you want. 7 onwards till 22. He is, I'll explain all these things. He's going to talk about this Ahara, Yajna, Tapa, and Dana. Okay. Which is just the application of Shraddhatriya. It's an application. And so Ramji calls it bonus topics. And then 23 onwards, if you see Om Tat Sat Iti, Nirdesha. So he's going to explain the significance of that mantra. That's how we divide this chapter. There is a very clear division here. And so let's chant the first 6 shlokas of this chapter. Arjuna Uvacha. Maybe we can do this. You want to repeat or shall we all say it together? Together, I think we can say, is it not? Yeah. So let's not, yeah, do that. Chant along with me. Arjuna Uvacha. Ye Shastra Vidhimutsrijya. Yajante Shraddhayanvitaha. Tesham Nishtha Tuka Krishna. Satvamaho Rajastamaha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. त्रिविधा भवति श्रद्धा देहिनां सा स्वभावजा सात्विकी राजसी चैव तामसी चेति तां शृणु सत्त्वानुरूपा सर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत श्रद्धामयोऽयं पुरुषः यो यच्छ्रद्धः स एव सः यजन्ते सात्विका देवान् यक्षरक्षांसि राजसाः प्रेतान् भूतगणांश्चान्ये यजन्ते तामसा जनाः अशास्त्रविहितं घोरम् तप्यन्ते ये तपो जनाः दम्भाहङ्कारसंयुक्ताः कामरागबलान्विताः कर्षयन्तः शरीरस्थम् भूतग्राममचेतसः मां चैवान्तः शरीरस्थम् तान् विद्यासुरनिश्चयान्. So he's introduced this 3 types of Shraddha by giving the example of Yajna. Again, Puja, in particular Puja. So he's dividing, he's saying, he's explaining these 3 types of Shraddha by saying, by giving 3 things about Puja. What does one worship? How does one worship? Means the methodology and the motive with which one worships. These are the 3 factors, if you will. Okay? So what does one worship means? What? A, this Satvika Devata Hava, Rajasika Devata Hava, Tamasika Devata. Popularly known in our culture as Tamasika Devata. Means the devatas which give you a lot of tamas, and if the person wants to attack somebody, etc. And even God also, Indra also I can scare. And for that, there are special devatas from which I can learn all these things. They will bless me with all these. They're all in that violent mode. And so that is what. And then how? And then how do I worship? And so this hurting oneself, we saw that as a tamasika type of prayer. Then other, as opposed to quiet inward type of prayers, are all sattvic. Then motive. Why does one do this? What for are you doing puja? So again, inner growth, for my own inner growth becomes sattvic. For material prosperity becomes rajasic, and tamasic will be, it's just opposite of prosperity. It's for hurting others and winning over others and things like that. Is how he has explained here, Sri Krishna 1 to 6. Then we have 7 to 22. Okay, where he talks about ahara, yajnaha, tapaha, and dhanam. So, all right, let's chant this. आहारस्त्वपि सर्वस्य त्रिविधो भवति प्रियः यज्ञस्तपस्तथा दानं तेषां भेदमिमं शृणु आयुः सत्त्वबलारोग्यसुखप्रीतिविवर्धनाः रस्याः स्निग्धाः स्थिराः हृद्याः आहाराः सात्विकप्रियाः कट्वं ललवणात्युष्ण तीक्ष्णरूक्षविदाहिनः आहारा राजसस्येष्टाः दुःखशोकामयप्रदाः यातयामं गतरसं ऊतिपर्युषितं च यत् उच्छिष्टमपि च मेध्यम् भोजनं तामसप्रियम् अफलाकाङ्क्षिभिर्यज्ञः विधिदृष्टो विधिदृष्टो य इज्यते यष्टव्यमेवेति मनः समाधाय स सात्विकः अभिसन्धाय तु फलम् दम्भार्थमपि चैव यत् इज्यते भरतश्रेष्ठ तयज्ञं विद्धि राजसम् विधिहीनमसृष्टान्नम् मन्त्रहीनमदक्षिणम् श्रद्धाविरहितं यज्ञम् तामसं परिचक्षते देवद्विजगुरुप्राज्ञपूजनं शौचमार्जवम् ब्रह्मचर्यमहिंसा च शरीरं तप उच्यते अनुद्वेगकरं वाक्यम् सत्यं प्रियहितं च यत् स्वाध्यायाभ्यसनं चैव वाङ्मयं तप उच्यते मनः प्रसादः सौम्यत्वं मौनमात्मविनिग्रहः भावसंशुद्धिरित्येतत् तपो मानसमुच्यते श्रद्धया परया तप्तम् तपस्तत्त्रिविधं नरैः अफलाकाङ्क्षिभिर्युक्तैः सात्विकं परिचक्षते सत्कारमानपूजार्थं तपोदम्भेन चैव यत् क्रियते तदिह प्रोक्तं राजसं चलमध्रुवम् मूढग्राहेणात्मनो यत् पीडया क्रियते तपः परस्योत्सादनार्थं वा तत्तामसमुदाहृतं दातव्यमिति यत्तानं दीयतेनुपकारिणे देशे काले च पात्रे च तद्दानं सात्विकं स्मृतं यत्तु प्रत्युपकारार्थं फलमुद्दिश्य वा पुनः दीयते च परिक्लिष्टं तद्दानं राजसं स्मृतम् adeshakale yaddanam apatrebhyascha diyate asakritamavajñatam tattamasamudahritam. So these four topics, ahara. So without going into the details, Swamiji gives some very simple guidelines. Satvika means avoid non-vegetarian, avoid all these intoxicants, avoid tobacco, avoid overeating, and avoid untimely meals. So don't eat between meals. So this is the guidelines. And so, because why obsession towards food is a barrier for Shastra Shravanam, etc. Yeah, the mind has to be still. It has to absorb so much. Not much really, but it has to absorb it. Its presence of mind is so important. So we can't afford distractions. And in any case, food is not going to give me moksha. And so health it can give me. Good health and all it can give. And so that obsession is to be avoided. If I don't know what to eat, etc., there are enough people who know. There are good friends always available, some of whom are very good in these things. Just take their advice. That's it. Our elders are always there. Our parents and grandparents, they always know what is good, etc. So, yajnaha. So that was ahara. Then yajnaha. So this Panchamaha Yajna is good. So a vision towards the whole. Okay, I am not an independent entity separate from the whole. So that vision, we want to build that vision. So in that process, Panchamaha Yajna is done. And for for self maturity, for internal growth, I want to do this. And initially, material prosperity becomes the goal, but I slowly grow out of that and emphasize that internal growth. So that is Satvika versus Rajasika. And secular, Swami mentions secular in between. It's a religious activity, but for us, there is no activity that is secular, really speaking. Even Bhuta Yajna, helping animals also, there is a ritualistic way in which we start the day by doing the Rangoli. Okay, that is a Bhuta Yajna. And so we can convert all quote unquote secular activities into religious activities, right? How did we say Dhanam is? You want to give Dhanam to somebody? Okay, you want to give $10 or 500 rupees? Just invite the person and then put it in a plate and then give it to him. So I invoke these kinds of ideas in my activities. So it's all various ways in which we do. And even when we give gifts to people during special occasions, we spend a lot of time on that. And even when they give cash, they have nice envelopes and all that. And it's all looks good. And so, and but if you don't have that kind of time, you can always write a poem or write something very, very touching and what an impact they made in your life, what you appreciated about them, etc. You write it. And then that's a different kind of gift. So these are all thoughts. Yeah, Satish, go ahead.
Now you mentioned Rangoli. So in the earlier days, they used to use the rice flour as Rangoli. Nowadays, it is stone powder. So it is not actually Bhuthagna.
Let's talk about it in satsang. Yeah, exactly. You're right. So tapaha, aharaha, yajnaha, tapaha. And then, so tapaha, Krishna mentioned, he divided it into two different ways. One is kayikam, vachikam, manasam, tapaha, based on how we do it. Then he talks about satvikam, rajasam, tamasam, tapas. And so that religious discipline is truly meant for oneself, truly meant for oneself. So even puja and all, okay, and we have special occasions where, like Ati Rudram is going on right now. So it's a long process. They start the celebration started 5 in the morning and it goes on till 3 in the afternoon. Then the short break is there, 5 o'clock again it starts. The entire community. is doing tapas, really speaking. And so, because to be committed to that, it pulls you. It just tells you, okay, I have to focus my. So these are all. If I can't do tapas myself, then I need all these celebrations. Joint functions are there. So we take advantage of that and build ourselves up. And so, because in Kathopanishad, our Yamadharmaraja has said already, Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi. So nice chariot analogy is given. Hey, this body is your chariot. It's like the chariot. And the sense organs are like the five horses. And the mind is, am I the mind? No. Mind is the reins, the rope with which you pull the horses. Then what about me? Am I the charioteer? No, you're not the charioteer. Okay. You're not the charioteer. Okay. That's the buddhi. Oh, I'm not the buddhi also. Okay, then who am I? Atmanam Rathiram Vidhi. That person, that entity for which the entire body is meant for, is who you are, Atma. Like that it was said. So that journey, for this journey to happen, so that is Atma, all right. But then, just like for the Atma to recognize the self, this journey has to be good, it has to be fruitful. And just like maintaining your car, any vehicle that you travel in, you do maintain, we spend a lot of time on. And so that time for oil change comes. And I don't own a vehicle, I mean, I own a small vehicle. But the car means they have in the America they have all these rules. 6 months, 3 months or something and all they say. Then I read a consumer reports article on this car maintenance. What is this 3 months thing? And what happens if I do it, if I delay it to 5 months, the car will just break down or what? Then they said, look, the most abused car in the entire universe is a New York taxi cab. And New York taxi cab. And even that car, if it gets 4 or 5 months, if it once in 4 or 5 months, if they put oil, that is enough. And so your car, even if it goes to 6 months, it's all right. That's what they said. 7 months, it's all right. You take the thing. If the oil is black, charcoal color, then it's time for an oil change for sure. And so don't wait until the oil becomes black. Something like that, they said. So then it said, okay, so I don't have to, calendar you go and then put 3 months and all. So even a car, we have to maintain all these things. We have to maintain. We have to maintain the body also. And so, in our case, maintenance means, of course, body maintenance is there. Mind maintenance is a little extra, for which we need to do things like self-assessment. Bit harder, mind, because we don't know our nature. We don't know unless somebody tells us how we are. We won't know what our nature is. That's how it is. We're unaware of. Initially, we're unaware of who we are, what are our gunas, etc. We don't know. And so therefore, self-assessment, parikshalokan karmachitan nirvedamayat brahmanaho. So that self-assessment is needed before we get into Vedanta. And all of us have done that and continue to do that. And so, lot of thinking is involved. Thinking. And so, to come to that point, everything must be in reasonably good shape. Top-notch physical health, nobody can have. Nobody can have. And Shastram doesn't say you must have physical health top-notch, doesn't say. Yes, it's nice to have a healthy body. And I have to do what it takes. I definitely can't abuse my body. That's out of question. And so, we'll go along with the body, take care of it, and then spend as much time in Shravanam and Mananam as possible. And so, because buddhi is critical, in that charioteer is critical because he is the one, the charioteer is the one who's going to show me who I really am. Okay. So very interesting. Krishna is the charioteer for Arjuna, right? And so that's the idea here. Tapaha. So Swamiji says it's the integration of the physical, emotional, and intellectual personality. Everything has to be in sync, in consonance. And that is tapaha. That's the objective of tapaha. All right. Dhanam. Aharaha, yajnaha, tapaha, dhanam. Dhanam also we saw. We spent some time on that. And dhanam need not be, it's of course not just money, cash, etc. But it's so many other things. So many other things. So we're conducting tuition for children. And it's not dhanam. No cash is given. And there are some students who are not that poor also, but we give them training because they don't know. They go to college, they suffer. The intelligent people suffer. Why? Language problem. English. So this going from Tamil to English. Unnecessary problems we suffer. And suddenly we introduce, how can you introduce a new language in college? I still don't understand that idea. And how jarring that idea is. What a waste of a human intellect. And so that struggle is there for many people. And you ask them, how are you doing? And they don't know how to say also. No, no, sir, it's going well. And sometimes I don't understand and all. Sometimes you don't understand? That means I really don't understand. We have to read between lines. So, very, very, 1 second. Sorry, 1 second. Enama? Yeah, so we were talking about dana. So these days, a lot of work is required. A lot of dhanam is required. Non-material dana. Because the communities are like that, stressed communities. And even Godhanam these days is becoming very popular because Godhanam and Go Rakshanam, more than Dhanam, Rakshanam is happening in India. Because this meat consumption and all that is so much, the protecting cows is now kind of coming, clashing against that. So you've seen those kinds of things. And of course, education of our culture. Education is such an important thing, children and adults and so forth. So everywhere people need, colleges need, they want speakers who tell us about values there. Imagine a college calling if somebody to talk about values. It looks strange, is it not? Values anybody can talk about. Why should I come and go to a college? Teachers can talk about values. No, they need that boost because they're so focused in building a career, correct? And so everything is gone by the wayside. So somebody has to just reset the whole thing. So they all need that kind of stuff. So Dhanam. Swamiji talks about conversion also. Paramarthanandaji rarely comes into this conversion business, but he brings it up here. He says, on one side, Christianity is pushing us. On the other side, that other religion is pushing us. There's only one place left. The ocean is left, he says. Ocean is available, he says. So I was a bit stunned when I heard that. So anyway, so Dharma Yuddham is also part of what we do, what we should do. Arjuna is doing it. Bhagavad Gita is a prime example of that. So that's the idea given here until shloka number 22. Then 23 to 28, we have the praise of Om Tat Sat. Let's chant that. Om Tat Saditi Nirdeshaha Brahmanas Smritaha Brahmanasthena Vedascha Yajñascha Vihitah Pura Tasmadomityudahritya Yajñadana Tapah Kriyaha Pravartante Vidhanoktaha Satatam Brahmavadinam Tadityanabhisandhaya फलं यज्ञतपः क्रियाः दानः क्रियाश्च विविधाः क्रियन्ते मोक्षकाङ्क्षिभिः सद्भावे साधुभावे च सदित्येतत् प्रयुज्यते prashaste karmani tatha sachabdah partha yujyate yajne tapasi dane cha sthitis saditi chochyate karma chaiva tadarthiyam sadityevabhidhiyate ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kritam च यत् असदित्युच्यते पार्थ न च तत्प्रेत्य नो इह. So Om Tat Sat. Very interesting. He brings this mantra. So we spent a lot of time on this topic also. And we saw in the last class the three meanings of Omkara. The linguistic meaning, Vedic meaning, and a non-linguistic phonetic meaning. We saw the three meanings of Omkara. And so everybody knows. Everybody knows the sanctity of Omkara. Even those who are not part of the religion, this Dharma, no Om. There is something called Om. And this Amen, they say in Christianity. So one has to look into the origin of that. It sounds very close to Om. So we have to see whether it was borrowed from Om or not. Anyway, so he uses these three words, Om, Tat, and Sat. Every word is sacred, but these three he chooses because it's often chanted. Sometimes in the beginning and sometimes towards the end of yajnas, danas, and tapas. And even after ahara, you can say Om Tat Sat. After the food is completed, Om Tat Sat. Perfect. And so, even a tamasika karma can become sattvic by uttering this Om Tat Sat with a lot of shraddha. With shraddha. Shraddha is important. And so, very interesting. Suppose I say, there are drug addicts and you want to help them. The state wants to help them. They have, let's say the state has schemes to help alcoholics and drug addicts rehabilitate. Tell me something. That rehabilitation center, part of the rehabilitation, does it include drugs and alcohol? It has to include drug and alcohol. You can't simply withdraw alcohol from an alcoholic. You can't simply withdraw. Withdrawing drugs from a drug addict is the best way to just kill that person. Correct? And so it won't work. So you have to say, okay, you also know that it's not good for you, but you need it somehow. Your bloodstream is demanding, your blood is demanding, mind is demanding. And so you have to include it. So it's a slow withdrawal. Slow withdrawal. Like they give steroids and then they slowly withdraw the steroids from the body. There are some medicines like that. Many medicines work like that. And so, therefore, our Shastram also says, Suramna pibet. May you not consume alcohol. Okay, Suramna pibet. But many Hindus do drink. Why? Well, you don't reject it. And kalanyam na bhakshayet. May you not eat meat. But meat eating was there also. Was there because Shastram says, yeah, you're also a Vedic person. But in time, once you learn all these things, once you become sattvic, then it's natural. The journey is there. You can't say, see, Satyam Vada. Veda says Satyam Vada. Taittiriya Upanishad, famous statement. Satyam Vada, it says. Why it says Satyam Vada? Because this tendency for Asatyam is there. That's why Satyam Vada it says. Otherwise, it doesn't have to say that. Why should it say don't eat meat? Because meat consumption is in the vogue. It is there very much. And therefore, there is popular question, does the Veda talk about eating meat and all? So, okay, there are a lot of things we do which we are not supposed to do. So, So it's a process of growth. So therefore, that's why animal sacrifice, very popular question. Animal sacrifice, it is there or not? So the other day, we were reading a mantra in the Veda, which talks about animal sacrifice. Okay. But then it says you have to make an animal with some particular vrihi, etc., with some that flower. You have to make an animal with flower and then invoke life into this animal and then use that animal for sacrifice. There are some procedures there. Purodasham, it's called. And so, then what about animal sacrifice, real animal sacrifice? Yeah, it has come into being. It looks like, Swamiji told me, Swami Parvadyanandaji, there was never any animal sacrifice per se. Vedas doesn't talk about. It talks about Purodasham because that particular, some papa and all to be removed, this kind of activity is recommended by the Veda. But killing of the animals not involved, as I told you just now. So anyway, but somebody kills an animal, you don't reject the person. You have to tell the person why it's not healthy for you, it's not good for you, physically, emotionally, etc. That can be done. So sadgunya sampadanartham, for that sadguna, for gaining that sadguna, this Om Tat Sat mantra is useful, very beneficial if said with Shraddha. All right, that's what this is. This chapter concludes with these topics. And Swami spent some time. He says that Krishna never talks about how to get these values. Devasuri Sampath. If he starts talking about how to, I mean, he did Karma Yoga is there and values are all there. But then if we still further probe and say, how do I get Amanitvam? How do I get Adamnitvam? And then we keep on probing. How? There's no end to that, How do I do that? Give me some bullet list. When you get up, you do this, then do this. Like that, we all need that sometimes. And so Krishna never gives a bullet list. And so Swamiji talks a little bit about some basic things. Let's go through that. Okay. So how to get out of damaging habits and how to develop this Daivi Sampat. Okay. That he talks about. First basic step. Basic is prarthana. Prarthana. See, we can't expect people to go study psychology and this and that and then to help themselves. For us, the basic was always prarthana, puja, and relating to Ishvara. This is what takes us all the way through. And people realize as we live in proper societies must be geared also. If every family is competing against each other, then all these things suffer. Competition becomes the rule, competition becomes the guide in our society, then it's going to be difficult. All these things suffer. But prarthana is basic. From childhood, we have learned these slokas, chanting, all this done. And it grows into us and it is there. It is, and then it picks up later also in our lives. So prarthana. And every class we are chanting mantras. So once we come to the study of Veda, then prarthana becomes even more important. We begin the class, we end the class with prarthanas. So Bhadram Karnevi Shrunayama Devaha. May we listen to the right things. Which means what? If something comes and if it doesn't really help you, you should know how to walk away from that. That is the meaning of Bhadram Karnevi Shrunayama Devaha. Because there's no free will. You don't have any free will in deciding what you get to hear. You can hear anything, you can see anything. And so, I need to use my free will. So all those mantras are all there. Sahana Bhavatu is there. Sahana Bhavatu is from Yajurveda. Bhadram Karnevi is from Atharvana Veda. So when we study Mundaka and Mandukya, we start the study with Bhadram Karnevi Shrunayama Devaha. Then there is this Rigveda, Aitreya Upanishad, if we study, then we start the Shanti mantra there is Purnamadav Purnamidam. We start with the class of Purnamadav Purnamidam. May look odd to you because Purnamada means suddenly you close your notebook, you know. So here you have to open your notebook when we say Purnamada. So, so like this, we have a lot of prarthanas. And in Taittiriya Upanishad, okay, Jihva me madhumattama. Okay, this is a very comes in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So may my tongue be coated with honey, it seems. Madhumat, madhumat. No, matu pratyaya is it. So that means the prayer, constant prayer it is. May I learn how to speak. May I refine my speech. May I not say things that are no value added. You know, they say value added. Yeah, let me bring some value added to my words, you know. Let's bring it to our daily life. And so that first prarthana is very basic and we have to, it must be an integral part, a part and parcel of our lives. And then, so that's because the prarthana is coming from us. It's a conscious prayer, it's a conscious ask, and therefore it has to have a result. It has to have a result. That's it. No, I've been praying for so many years, I didn't get anything. No, that's not getting is not the proof for the prayer not fructifying. You ask so many people, successful business people, you ask them how much you spent, what all your struggles you went through to start a business. They'll say it took me 10 years for me to get profitable. And guy is running a multi-billion dollar business. Okay, that's how it is. And if so, for the human growth also, sometimes it can take long because vasanas and karma is there. Karma, a lot of karma is there, all right. But the karma that is supposed to play in this life is also waiting to fructify. So I have to neutralize all that. And so never be discouraged. Udhared Atman Atmanam. That's why we say that. Because this instant gratification may not happen. Okay? Don't give up prarthana because of that. And and then association with the stories behind all these deities. Okay, devatas, Ramayanam, Devata, Harishchandra. Harishchandra, you hear Harishchandra Puranam. Okay, Harishchandra, I am curious. I want to see Harishchandra Puranam and Vyasa, how he is presenting it. Harishchandra is Ishvara, he's a Devata. Okay, and when you worship somebody like that, then by association we imbibe those values. See, Ramayana, we associate with Rama, we want to become like Rama because Ramaha Vigrahavan Dharmaha. Rama is an embodiment of Dharma. We studied the Ramayana some time ago. And so, Konvasmin Sampratam Loke Gunavans Kascha Viryavan Dharmajnascha Kritajnascha Satyavakyo Dhridavrataha. Narada says, Valmiki, you should write about somebody. And he said, I'm not going to write about somebody and all. If I write about somebody, that somebody has to have all these values. Gunavan kasya viryavan dharmajnaha kritajnaha dridavakyaha satyavrataha. Like this, he gives a big list of values. Only if such a person exists and not existed, that person has to exist. Then I will write about it. So you can imagine. All right. So all these stories, Hanuman and all, we teach children these things because we need that. The West is missing all these. That's why they have to create all this Donald Ducks and all that. Because they don't have anything. Western society doesn't have all these things. And so that's number one. Prarthana is number one. Number two, Satsangaha. Satam Sangaha. Satpurushanam Sangaha. Any person whom you respect, whom you really adore for who they are, spend time with that person. That's it. This is Satsanga. The meaning of Satsanga is somebody who knows about about Atma and Ishvara and all. That person is Satpurusha. But for values, you can any person who who stands up for certain values that you value, you can be with that person. Like, why did you come here? I just came to be with you for a few minutes. Really? Yeah, just want to be here for some. I feel good if I come to your house. Enough. Just be there and then have a cup of water or whatever. And then, how are you guys doing? Then to go about doing your business, I'll just sit here and go for some. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. So just we have to practice that. That's how satsanga starts. Then, of course, swamis, etc., ashrams, all these things are there. And because it takes time. Because then finally, sannyasi, yadrichaya labha santushtaha, Krishna says. The person who is happy getting whatever he wants. It's impossible to find such a person in this universe. But if such a person is there, the Shastra talks about such people. And this culture does have such people, which the media contemptuously calls as godmen and all that. And they're not godmen at all. They're swamis. They're all meant for us. We have to use them. We are fools for not using them, really. And so such people do exist. And they're all bhikshacharis. They're all, they're just, they'll be happy to come if you invite them. Yeah, that kind of people they are. Bhikshachari, bhikshacharini, men, women, everybody is there. So they are meant for us. And so that's so important. Yeah, I don't know how many of you noticed this. There is this once what happened last year, I think. This Papua New Guinea, it's a small country. Yeah. And the Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea invited Modi. Modi ends up goes there and he touches the feet of Modi. Correct? I think this thing went viral. And so it shows the culture, shows how it is, and he's wearing a suit and all. Okay, he's wearing a tie and everything, and then he's touching the people. And so just tells us what how much there is in life that we need to imbibe by just letting go of our ahankara. I saw a video yesterday of Swami Tattvavidananda. He's talking about how this ahankara is so great. It will reject all good things and go after it. Keep on justifying the things that it shouldn't be doing. And he gives many examples. And he says, even bacteria are not as good as ahankara in adapting to situations. His statement, I'll forward you that video. And I found it fantastic. And so, this kind of ahankara, are we supposed to beat this ahankara? Is it possible? We need all these things. Number 3, sankalpa. Sankalpa, very important, means writing down, means making it explicit, making your desire explicit. I want to be free of jealousy. I want to be free of fear. I want to be free of anger. I want to be, okay, I'll give you my own personal example. So I recognize that I'd say I wanted to be good at everything I do. And so perfectionism, big problem it is. Then I realized one day, oh my God, that maybe I'm pushing myself too much. And I had to do something about it. And assertiveness. Okay, these are all things. When you work in a company, we need all these things. And even in a family, you need to be assertive, certain cases. You need to be compassionate. You need to just let go in a family. Letting go and at the same time assertive. Both are needed. And I realized these are so important. I use sankalpa, affirmations, vows, auto-suggestion. Every morning I used to get up and write. And what I wrote previous day, I used to read it loudly. It is impossible to be perfect in situation. It is all right to make mistakes. Yeah, that's it. 2 sentences. I have pages and pages I've written on this. I had to tell either somebody has to tell me or I have to tell myself. Nobody else is going to tell you. So we have to tell ourselves. That is called sankalpa. When we do sankalpa in puja, that is what it is. So this is very important. So those who are interested, They should pursue it. And it worked really well for me. Really well, because you have to tell it until you don't have to tell this to you. Until you can, you're on top of it. You say, yeah, enough is enough. Enough is enough. This PowerPoint is never going to be perfect. Is enough. If somebody complains, let them complain. Because it's good. I know it's good. So beyond this, chalega. It's okay. Don't miss the what do you call? Miss the forest for the trees. Okay. So the essence is there. So like this, assertiveness. When I say no, I feel guilty. That's a book I read. When I say no, I feel guilty. When I read that book, when I saw the title, I said, yeah, exactly, that's me. And in those days, I used to be. I was so afraid of saying no to bosses and all this thing. And I used to wonder how everybody else is very comfortable talking. And I realized, oh, there's a problem I have to fix that problem. So very good, very important. Pariksha Lokan Karmachita. Upanishad tells all these things. Pariksha Lokan is general experience is pariksha karke, but self pariksha also has to be done. That's very important. And then use sankalpa for that. Pratipaksha bhavana, very important. Pratipaksha bhavana means I have some negative thoughts about people and things. The negative thoughts about people is not healthy. Not healthy. So when there is a person who's not is hurting everybody, hurting yourself, etc., you are obviously going to not like that. That's one extreme. But even otherwise, when you're working with people and the person has some good qualities and also has some qualities that you abhor, those abhorrent qualities should not cloud the good qualities. Am I able to see both clearly? This person is good in these things. This person is not. I don't like all these habits of this person. Okay, this I don't like should not eclipse the I like. Can I say that? Does the I like ever eclipse the I don't like? Did it ever happen? Okay, it's not the person is 100% bad, not possible. Then, okay, no, write down those things. No, this person is good in ABC. Very good. He's really good at that. Okay, really good part. Just take it, keep it in front of you. Let that be there. Person is also human being. That person has their own karma. So many things are there. Like I have my own karma. I have to I have to go through this journey. That person also. So, Pratipaksha Bhavana means thinking like that, thinking that that person has a lot of good qualities. All along, I've been rejecting that person. No, 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 no. Wait. I'm going to spend some time thinking about this person, the good about that person, good about this. Pratipaksha Bhavana, very important. So, converting hatred to love, okay? Converting criticism to praise. Sometimes it works. It's not sometimes. Always works wonders. Always works wonders. So anyway, then Viveka, last point. Five, right? Five. So Viveka. So Viveka is what we are doing a lot in Vedanta, in our Shravanam in classes. That's what we do. We assume everybody is emotionally qualified and has done the pariksha, etc. To some extent at least. And then the rest, the class will take care of. And the association will take care of. Sankalpas we make will take care of the rest of the things. But sometimes we need that extra effort. As Swami Tadatmanandaji said in that video of Hollow Reed, he says, this some people need that extra push, and one has to pay attention to the emotions, an emotional being, emotional makeup of a human being, etc. And so that has to be done. That has to be done. Even when it comes to emotions and all, there was a time you won't believe it. My bookshelf was full of psychology books. I was reading from top to bottom, really. And I got so many names. Periodically, I quote those books. I don't know where those books are these days. The books are gone, it's all there somewhere. I left it, I think. And so, but very good books are there. And some people will know. I think the Amazon, the star rating is useful sometimes. and useful to read all that. But some books are very good, very, very good. Very good. Just if the author knew Vedanta, that's it. That person would have jumped here. He would not have written this book. That's such good those books are, right? Because you feel, oh my God, he's there, very much there. But he's helping us, obviously. And so those are all useful, very useful. And so Prarthana, Satsangaha, Sankalpaha, Pratipaksha Bhavana, and Viveka. These 5 things Swamiji mentions. So it was good for us to review all that today. And no, don't have time for all these. Means what? I'm not prepared for it. In the sense you're telling me a lot of things that my life is different. No problem. If your life is different, let it be different. Pancha Mahayajna, Prarthana, Puja, whatever you are doing right now, just emphasize it. Emphasize the best aspects of what you do. That's it. That'll periodically Shravanam, Shravanam, Shravanam. Shravanam will always help. And so, Karma Yoga, that's it. You don't have to. All the extra, these are all extras which are useful. They're useful for us to make a big impact in our lives. But Ishvara is the biggest impactor, finally. And so, relating to Bhagavan and going with our ancestors best way. So, should also remember that this thing I want to say, every person whom I see, whom I adore, who looks like an ideal human being, we have to remember one thing, that person also has worked very hard to be that person. You got lucky, he got lucky, all this luck. The word luck does not exist in our Shastra. You know why? Everything is put under karma. What karma? Karma is not luck. Good karma is not luck. Good karma is earned by me. Bad karma also is earned by me. Therefore, that person, when you look and you say, he's there, lucky, lucky family, you got a lucky wife, lucky husband, you're lucky. This lucky and all not there. We don't accept all that. You got a good wife because that's the karma. If something worked out, yeah, because you worked hard for it. You worked hard for it. Take credit for it and don't give it up. Follow that tradition. That's the idea here. And so they got lucky and all these statements we don't accept. And so they worked through it. Either in this Janma, in the past Janma, they have worked through themselves. They have poured their heart out. They have gone over the sorrows. They have assessed themselves. What is right, wrong, and then what is the goal of life, everything they thought through. That is why the person is where they are. So nobody got it easy. Swamiji said once, I remember, the way he speaks, the choices, the words he uses, everything is so pakka. Everything makes a difference, makes a mark. And he used to say, suddenly he said one day, I don't know English. I was born in Tamil Nadu in a village near Kumbakonam. I only know Tamil. But I worked so hard on my English language. I worked and studies. Okay, nothing. You're gifted means what? Gifted by whom? Gifted by yourself only. That's what it is. So with that prayer, we'll conclude this class. This concludes the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Om Apadamapahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Om Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasyashalini Deshoyam Kshobarahitah Brahmanas Santu Nirbhayaah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevapashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.